Bona?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:02. Cantor Adam Stotland here from the synagogue, and I want to thank you all for logging on. I also want to note the presence of Rabbi Rubin, Senior Rabbi of Shar Zion Beth-El congregation, Gila Geiger, one of our co-presidents, several members of our board and executive, and of course, I think we're all here for the same reason, and that is to meet the Chief of Police, Mr. Fady Dagher. So, as a member of the Jewish community, I think I could speak for all of us where our anxiety's been a little more heightened, the last few months. And I'd like to take a few opportunities, firstly, to thank the Montreal police. I am a daily synagogue attendee. I'm also a parent of Solomon Schechter Academy, where I have 4 children. Yes, I will echo Paul's ask everyone to please mute. And if you're able to turn on your screens, I would ask all those who are able to turn on your screens, and let's show Mr. Dagher our beautiful faces and our smiles. And I really wanted to start with a positive note and really a hakarat hatov, a moment of thanks, because on both the synagogue side of the wall and the school side of the wall, I have felt an uptick in police presence. It is not uncommon for me to arrive at synagogue at about 9 o'clock in the morning and to have a marked vehicle outside on the front sitting on Côte Saint-Luc Road. And I, of course, take the opportunity and go thank the officers who, explained to me that they're here out of solidarity, here as a, visual deterrence. And as a parent of the school, it is not uncommon to have officers walk around the building, come in their car, and again, they're here to help us feel safe. So I really wanted to start this conversation, firstly, by thanking the Montreal police for all that they do. And secondly, is to thank Mr. Dagher for his time. I can only imagine that he has a lot on his plate, and his presence here is just further testament to the importance that the Montreal police places on being there for their city and for our city. And so Chief Dagher, please accept our huge thank you, both in all that you do for the city and in your personal time being here with us. And I want to introduce you to the members of Shar Zion Beth-El community, and I'm sure there are several members of the larger Jewish community here with us today. And I would like to thank you for your time and being here.
Thank you. Listen, first of all, I want to say sorry for the last time we were supposed to meet, but I have an emergency at the last minute, so I'm very, very sorry. I've been involved since the 7th of October. Actually, I've been involved with the Jewish community for the last 20, 25 years. So I've been a police officer for 33 years. I was 25 years in Montreal, left for 6 years in Longueuil, and came back. Very, very, very happy to be back. So what I'm mentioning this is because I'm a Montrealer. I immigrate in Montreal, not even in Canada, not even in Quebec, but in Montreal in 1985. For me, Montreal is my DNA. And when I mention my DNA, Montreal, the component of Montreal, the people of Montreal, the communities of Montreal, it's something like it's tattooed in me. So I really, really, I'm really engaged in the communities and in your community. I know your community very well. Actually, I bought my house in Ville Saint-Laurent on purpose in the Jewish neighborhood in the Old Saint Laurent, and in front of me is my synagogue facing my house. So I've been involved a lot with your community. When it comes back, well, listen, I'm here to listen to all the questions. I know that the anxiety is very, very high, the stress also. I never saw this before at this point. Like I've been seeing it from the 7th of October. Um, so I'm open to all questions that you want. If you please feel free, there's no bad question. Feel free to ask me any question that you want.
So I guess I would start, and I would just for the sake of order, seeing as we're over 60 people on this chat, if everyone could please raise their hand, or you can even feel free to drop a question into the chat. But I think I would ask, um, are let's see how I ask this. Do you think that we're safe? I mean, I'll tell you that from, inside the synagogue, first of all, our security budget has probably doubled. We get calls all the time from congregants, from people outside the synagogue, voicing their concern for the security of the synagogue. We have implemented various protocols for the synagogue that we did not have in the past. How much of it do you think is hysteria, and how much do you think is actually warranted?
That's a very good question. Am I worried about some attack or terrorist attack as a group, organized group happening in Montreal? I'm not worried at all. At all. I have nothing on the radar, and I've been talking to Myron in Toronto, the chief of Toronto, to Vancouver, in the state. We've been exchanging the level of threat, and for the something organized, I'm not worried. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be very honest with you. When it comes to radicalized young kids, and when it comes to people who are, this event is polarizing, and I'm worried about the youth. I'm worried about the lonely wolf, the solitary person. That I'm worried about. And
Not very
I've been
loud.
I've been
I
meeting
made it
with
loud. As I said,
excuse me. Okay, sorry. I've been meeting with the different association, student association, and I know that in the community in general, there's a lot of anxiety on both sides. But I can tell you one thing: when the anxiety really worries me, is the one from the youth in the universities and the CEGEP. Those kids, that I'm worried about because the language I've been listening, the fear inside those establishment, that I'm worried. The anti-Semitism reality is happening now. It's very high. People are insulting the Jewish kids. Sometimes in the corridor, people are asking them, "Are you Jew? Are you Jew?" That really, really, really worries me. And I've been trying to do some mediation from both sides. From the Muslim side too, they have some issues with the women who are wearing the voile, the veil. So this anxiety is very high. So if you ask me, am I worried about something as an attack or as something as a terrorist attack as a group organized? No. But am I worried about a young kid with the mental health issues? And the what's bizarre, sometimes we are worried about the person who are against us. So it comes from the Muslim side or the Jewish side. But you'll be surprised to see from a person who doesn't belong to those two communities, who are trying to get involved in that conflict and have nothing to do with those two communities. That I'm very surprised. I've been listening to some stories as to some event, and I'm like, wait a minute, we've been focusing on one side, but maybe this outside the circle. Maybe something's outside the circle. So, and so to answer you, that's what I'm worried about. But nothing organized, nothing prepared, nothing planned. against a community or the other one.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Vivian, please. You're gonna have to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We have in Canada hate speech laws. And what I don't understand is, you know, people absolutely have the right to say what they want except for hate speech. And there have been, in the demonstrations, people really saying very, in trying to incite hate, inciting violence. And when you're saying from the river to the sea, or when you're saying kill the Jews as explicitly as that, why aren't people being arrested, or why aren't the demonstrations being shut down at that point?
Okay, first of all, when it comes to the speech, I'm looking at my cellular because I have some data. Okay, I have some event. Just want to come back on this one. When we talk about the speech, when it comes to from the river to the sea, right away at the beginning when we heard the speech, we went to the cross prosecutors. And I'm gonna give you one example, then I'm gonna give you another one. We went and we asked, because the police represent the law. The police are not the law. So as soon as we want to make a move, we have to ask, is this a hate speech or is this not a hate speech? And when it came to from the river to the sea or intifada, we asked the crown prosecutors, and it was clear for the crown prosecutors in Quebec and in Canada on the other side that it's not a hate speech. In other countries, though, the crown prosecutors decide the opposite. So I have to work as a chief, and my police officers, we have to work with the tools that we have, the tools that they give us. But what you just mentioned, kill the Jew, well, sometimes during the demonstration, you're not going to see a police officer doing arrestation. And even in Concordia, I don't know if you remember the event happened in Concordia. During the event, you're not going to see automatically on video or in the news that we're going to do the arrestation right there. But you don't know what we do after. Because if we do the arrestation during the event, first of all, it's not safe for our police officer. It's not at the right moment. It's not a strategic moment. And this is not only since the 7th of October. It's been always a strategic for us to try the right moment to do some arrestation. We did over 17 arrestation. But not everybody knows why we did them.
Thank you very much. We have a question from our ritual director, Asher Tannenbaum.
Welcome, Mr. Fady. I wanted to know, maybe can you share any information in the investigations of the shootings at the schools or the synagogue?
Well, the shooting at the school, we seized the car. I'm gonna try to go as far as I can go, Mr. Tannenbaum. We seized the car. We send it to an expertise laboratory, and until now, I'm gonna be honest, the result are not conclusive result yet. But we're trying different technology. And the other issue that we had with the cocktail Molotov, the quality of the camera, the image that we had, wasn't great. But in the network, people still talk. So the file, we still continue investigating because some people are talking. And I think, I don't know how long it's going to take. This is the most frustrating part of the chief, not getting results. It's killing me. I gotta be honest with you. It's killing me because I want to give you result for the people to feel more safe, to see that there's some result. But trust me, we've been working on those cases, but until now, I cannot come back with the conclusion that who did it and all that.
Adam, can I ask something?
Yes, sure.
I it was in the news last week and the week before. Federation is asking for off-duty police officers to carry guns as a special permission. To me, that's a terrifying thing. I can't believe we're at that. Do you have an opinion on that, or would you like to share your thoughts?
Yes, I do. I do have an opinion on that. I'm a bit like you. First of all, I'm 28% to 28% of people missing at the job percentage. I'm low staff. I'm completely low staff. When it comes to
You went on mute.
Fady
Dagher, you're on mute.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Did you mention security agent or police officer?
Well, I don't know. I'm just listening to the news without knowing
Security,
very much.
it's-
They're
it's
saying
a
security
security.
agents or off-duty officers that they would
Yeah.
come and protect our institutions with
it's-
guns.
It's a security agent with guns. The government, the federal, the municipal, and the provincial went against it. I'm gonna be personally, and I'm not in your community. I'm not in your place. Okay, so it's very delicate for me to judge it because I don't have your anxiety that you're going through. But personally, if we're starting to put guns a bit everywhere, if you think it's gonna bring down the sentiment of insecurity, I'm telling you, a security agent with a gun, there's so much he can do. What I believe, the gentleman before mentioned, Mr. Stutland, that you guys are busting your budget with the security. I'm almost over $3 million just for this conflict, just patrolling around the synagogues, around the school, the Jewish schools, around the mosque, around the Muslim schools, just to make sure that everybody keeps it down, cool and down in Montreal. I'm never gonna take position for what's happening in the Middle East. But for Montreal, I'm really trying to make sure that here we are Montrealers, we choose to live here. So when it comes to, like in France, machine guns in front of schools, machine guns in front of synagogues, well, listen, this is not Montreal. You're gonna see the 5th of February, I'm gonna come out with the bilan of last year. If it wasn't the 8 murders that happened in the whole of Montreal, in that building, I don't know if you remember, with the fire. In Montreal, we are 24 murders in Montreal. This is the metropole, the second biggest city in Canada. This is a peaceful place. I want to keep it this way. That's why I told the Jewish community, don't change your behaviors. Keep going to the synagogue, keep wearing the kippah, keep having the symbols on the door. Don't change. Don't get on the trap of the fears. Don't go there. And I told the same thing on the other side. We don't want to change the behavior that we have. So no, for me, if somebody tells me, Fady, they have the right to have it, they want to have it. So you know what? Again, if you want my own opinion, I'm not against it, but I'm not for it.
Thank you. Our Rabbi, Adam Rubin.
Thank you so much, Chief, for being part of this, for coming and speaking with us. Just to, first of all, a quick thank you. I felt really impressed by how present the police have been in our synagogue. They're often our cars that will come into the parking lot, just spend some time there, walk around a little. I just feel very grateful and feel safer for it. I'll ask you a question. I don't know if you're allowed to respond, but I'll give it a try, which is, I'm just curious how you think Montreal, like the danger or threat to the Jewish community in Montreal is compared, let's say, to Toronto. Like, is it all about the same? Do you feel like we're, in better shape than they are? I'm just curious. I'm trying to get a handle on, so thank you.
That's a good question, Mr. Rabbi. I've been talking to Myron in Toronto, and I think the roots that we have in Montreal between the Jewish community and the majority is deeper. I don't know why. I'm gonna give you an example. the 16th of January, just now, and the 18th of January, we had the first demonstration called PAGU, P-A-G-U. This is Palestinian and Jew together. I didn't expect, I didn't know that was gonna happen. So some leaders on the street are deciding to get together for peace in Montreal. So for me, that kind of example, I don't know if it's happening in Toronto, but the fact that this is happening in Montreal between some people that decide to get together. I had a discussion with Mr. Brofman last week. Actually, he's meeting with me this week. Brian Brofman, who have the foundation, the Harmony Foundation. I know Mr. Brian for many, many years, and he's trying to find a way to bring groups together and to talk about peace in Montreal. So those kind of events, those kind of signal gives me that we are trying to find a way, a mediation way to work between the Montrealers all combined together. So I don't know how it is in Toronto, but I think we're in pretty good position in Montreal.
Thank you.
We have Muriel Sabag, please.
First off, I would like to thank the police force for all the help that they've given us. I also am very happy to hear some optimism in the last comment that was just made. Having said that, I fully understand how the SPVM is having concerns with even allowing anybody armed around the schools, because what kind of precedents do you put and when do you decide to remove it afterwards is a whole other ballgame. That said, I was wondering if there was any progress with regards to the stopping the rhetoric that's been going around, because as much as I understand that everybody has a right to protest, some of the paraphernalia that's been distributed with regards to the posters calling for pro-Palestinian demonstrations have been quite aggressive, quite violent. And I was just wondering if there was anything being done with that regards, with some of the violent slogans or signs that are brought to some of these demonstrations, and is there any way of curbing this?
Well, Madame Savag, I would like, because I saw some slogan, maybe I didn't see them all, but if you have some that you have on your phone or with you, please, through Mr. Adam, send it to me by email. I would like to look into it. One thing that I found out, it's been different from the last demonstration that we had in 2021. From the Jewish side during the demonstration and from the Palestinian side during the demonstration, we asked them to have a group of mediation inside the organization. And my police officer, why I know it's working well, my police officer on the field in 2021, they had to intervene against the Palestinian or against the Jewish community during the demonstration because there was too many conflict and too many confrontation and too many violence. This year, we had over 62 demonstrations. And to be honest, my police officer told me, Fady, what's going on? It's like they're controlling themselves in the group. They decide to have around 40 to 45 volunteers mediation to make sure that the people don't provoke too much, don't talk too much, don't scream too much. So they try to control themselves through their own community. But please, if you have some papers, some slogan that I can see, and I would love to see them. And I will get back at you to do some follow-up with Mr. Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think I see Les Erdell raising a hand, please.
I think Mr. Eddie is trying to Erdi. He's trying to talk, but I don't know if he does.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Here he goes.
Yes.
OK. Premièrement, j'aimerais vous remercier pour tout le monde de votre service et de la service de la police de Montréal. That said, I would like to make two comments. One, I would be very much against either security people or off-duty police officers wearing guns and protecting the synagogues. I think that would put us in the position of the United States. And to have more guns coming around is going to create more ill will, and it's going to create more harm than it is going to be good. So I would be definitely against the concept of having security people or off-duty officers wearing guns around synagogues. That being said, I want to address the comment that you made right at the beginning regarding younger people and demonstrations. I find that where there is a real danger involves the younger generations who seem to be getting together at various demonstrations and moving to areas where my understanding is they should not be, and where they do not have the right to demonstrate. And I find that in order to demonstrate, unless I am wrong, you have to obtain a permit from the city of Montreal. No longer, not required? Well, then certainly there should be some formation whereby demonstrations, be they on the side of the Muslim or on the Jewish side, should be located in areas that do not disturb people in general and restrict where any type of violence can possibly occur, because otherwise you're going to impede people's enjoyment of their own property.
Mr. Erdi, I'm sorry, I just want to go back. You're right, they need a permit. Everybody needs a permit. But when you don't have a permit, I cannot, if there's not a criminal action, I'm not allowed to make the stop at the beginning. So they have the freedom of speech, the freedom of circulate in the neighborhood where they are doing the demonstration. As soon as they don't listen to us, let's say I give an order and they don't listen to us because I saw some action, I saw some behaviors that are going to be dangerous, then I'm able to stop the demonstration. But you're right, it needs a permit. But so many of the events that's happening in Montreal, some people decide to start an event and go on without a permit. We don't stop it right away. We accompany them. We are next to them. But as soon as we see that there's some criminal action, we think there's going to be some criminal action. We stop them right away. I want to come back on what you mentioned about the youth. The youth issue is what I'm worried about, because before I mentioned that some people are isolating themselves, they are changing their behaviors, they are changing their mentality, they're not doing the same thing like they used to do before. But also what I'm seeing is some people are taking advantage of this war. Some people are taking advantage of this conflict. I can't go too far on what am I going to say, but trust me on this. There's some people are creating the distraction. There's some people are trying to create, to use, and to momentum to create a distraction, and not the Palestinian necessary. Those people have a special agenda. They have a special vision of what they want to do, and they're using this conflict or this war. They're using it to and this is not good.
Is there a directive from the city that you cannot stop somebody if they do not have a permit?
I have to look into it, but I know that there is a directive that people need a permit. You're right, but I know also that if they start an event, we have to let it go, because people are saying that they have a freedom of speech, they have the freedom of walking. Like what you just mentioned before, Fady, they should not be able to do demonstration at this area, that area. Well, that I can't. But what I can do, as soon as I see this harassment, this intimidation, or this some stuff like that, then I can stop it. Then I can decide, okay, enough is enough. we stop this. And what I mentioned to the Jewish community and to the Muslim community, if there is a demonstration, and my people knows that, my cops know that, if there's demonstration, let's say they're going in front of a synagogue, and is blocking the people from the synagogue going inside, going out, I say no. You're gonna let them go inside. You're gonna move away. They have the right to practice their religion freely, and they have the right to go to the synagogue or to the mosque. So that I made sure that when the demonstration happened, that there's no way I'm gonna accept that the people will be blocking the door of the synagogue or the door of a mosque.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have Neil followed by Roz. Neil, please. Neil, can you unmute yourself? Okay, Roz?
My husband.
There we go.
Oh, sorry, Bill.
Roz is Bill because Roz controls the computer. I'd like to address my question to our chief based on an earlier question asked by Muriel Sabag. If I remember her comment correctly, she said she was concerned about the increasing violence of material that was being distributed and stuff, I assume online, in other words, slogans and things of that nature. So in response, Chief, you said that she could send you examples of this and you would look into it. So my question is this: at what point do you believe that speech, either oral or in written form, would justify any police intervention?
Yeah, when there's a clear threat, like I don't know who mentioned that. I think the lady in the car mentioned that some people say kill the Jew. Well, kill the Jew for me is clear. It's not that I don't need a master. I don't need a. It's clear for me. This is a direct threat, and they need a direct action. So when I see or I hear something like that, for me, there's no issue. It's when it comes when it's hidden, I have to be able to see the context. I'm gonna give you an example, okay? And maybe you're not gonna be happy with this, but I'm very transparent. People asked me those questions before, and I've tried, and I went to meet the crime prosecutors, and I went to meet different in a different province. When it comes to flag, I'm gonna give you an example. When it comes to flag, let's say the person have a Hamas flag or a Hezbollah flag, and he's holding that flag. If he's not doing any threat with that flag, it is not context. If there's no how you say behavior that comes with it, and he's in intention with this flag, you're gonna tell me that Fady, arrest him. He's having this flag on him. I can't arrest him just because he's having the flag. Let's say you have the same flag, and we see that he's being violent. We see that he's been provoking by pointing it or by trying to intimidating people around him. That's a different story. Then we do the arrestation. So what we need, it's what is clear. Trust me, Mr. Halipan. Trust me, Mr. Halipan. When it's clear, we move fast. Maybe not in front of the people because it may be 2,000 people. But as soon as the people that person is isolated, we do the arrestation after. That for sure. When it's clear. When it's complex and gray, it's more complicated. But just the flag for me, I was like, okay, I guess I can do the arrestation. The person is wearing the flag. They say no. You need to know the context. You need to know what is his intention. What's the word coming? Is he threatening people? Are the people threatened? What's going on? And then you're going to be able to seize the flag and to arrest the person.
Thank you. We have Neil.
Yes. First of all, thank you, Chief Dagher, for coming out this evening. I think you'll understand that there's a high level of emotion in our community. and having interaction with policing authorities helps bring down the level of tension. However, I want to point out to you, and I think you're probably well aware, that this Criminal Code of Canada prohibits specifically unlawful assembly for the purposes of creating discomfort for communities. In fact, I know you're aware of Section 63, subparagraph 1 of the Criminal Code. Now, the question for you is twofold. One, why are the police not enforcing Section 63, subparagraph 1 regarding unlawful assembly, and specifically lawful assembly becoming unlawful? And as a secondary question, you're familiar that Article 65(1) also enjoins people from covering or concealing their identity during an unlawful assembly. So before you answer that question, I think it's fair that I tell you I sent a demand letter to the mayor of Montreal most recently on behalf of a concerned citizen, two concerned citizens who are not here today, but certainly would like to ensure that the community at large understands why there's no enforcement of the provisions of the criminal code, which are public order issues. Now, lawful speech is protected. Unlawful speech is not protected. Hate speech and hate assemblies are not protected by any provisions of the Canadian Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms or any other similar provision. So can you tell us specifically why the police are allowing assembly to take place under the guise of hatred, aggression, while violating 63 sub 1 and 65? Can you explain it to us in a simple way?
No, actually, you must be, I guess, I hope, I don't know, you must be a lawyer.
I am an attorney, and I am the lawyer that wrote the letter to the city of Montreal, which you were copied on. I think you got a copy of it.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Oberman, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a police officer. I know the article that you mentioned, the 63 and the 65.1. Well, when my own lawyers tell me what I'm allowed to do, when I'm not allowed to do, and you tell me, Fady, but the 63 and 65.1, you're not respecting it. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go back, Mr. Oberman, to my own lawyers and say, listen, am I on the right path? Am I doing something wrong? Or am I doing something right? So
nobody's accusing you of doing anything wrong. Let's be clear. It's the mayor that's the problem, not you.
No, Mr. Oberman, trust me. I'm happy that you're asking the question because, and I know where I am good at, and I know what I'm not good at. When it comes to the defining and interpreting those articles, the 63 and the 65.1, I'd rather talk to my lawyers.
Sure.
And to get back to discuss, because trust me as a chief, if I have the tools, I have the right to do it, and I know that the crowd prosecutor is going to take it to the court. Why am I not going to do it?
I don't think this is, people who are listening tonight are people in the community. I'm also in the community, but I'm not here in that regard. I'm here simply to say that there are provisions of the law that need to be enforced. Can you explain also why, protesters that, they say they're protesters, but in fact they're agitators, for example, came and blocked overpasses? Why are they allowed on overpasses? Why are they flying pancards over highways, over intersections, when in Toronto, they have stopped this because it's dangerous? So can you tell us, will the Montreal Police Department follow suit to what's going on in Toronto, enjoin that type of conduct, and stop that type of situation occurring on our islands?
Some area in Toronto, when I was talking to the chief of Toronto, the 705 or that highway that where happened the demonstration, you're right. It became dangerous, and it wasn't how you say, the access. It wasn't. It was dangerous. That's why they stopped it. In Montreal, when they blocked the bridge right away, we went. We tried to take them out because you're right. They're not allowed to block the bridges. Well, it's more complicated than that. It's not because we want to let them do whatever they want. It's like the gentleman that mentioned before, when they do some demonstrations without telling us where they're going, we have to find, first of all, it have to be secure for us to be able to intervene. And when we intervene, we try to make it as soon as possible to open the bridge. So like I say, nothing is perfect, but
It's not a question of being perfect, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I think this
yeah,
needs to be clear. When everybody on this call follows social media and knows 72 hours in advance of one of these hate assemblies, I suspect your intelligence unit, which I understand has been following these things, is fully monitoring social media. So they know that when they say 72 hours, they're going to be out with their cars, they're going to come over the Dakari Expressway. Let me tell you something. You cannot say, nobody can say that they're not out there on social media. The issue for our
no, but
communities is simply
I
where
knew,
is the enforcement of the laws that
but I
govern
knew,
our
but
country? They're not being
Mr.
enforced.
Oberman, Mr. Oberman, I
Yeah,
knew
Neil, just
about
call me Neil.
yeah, I knew about the demonstration of the car on the that happened this weekend. We knew about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
We knew
Well,
about
it's
it,
out
and
there.
huh?
It's out there. They're putting it on
Yeah,
social media.
but did anything criminal happen in that demonstration?
Yeah, when you cover your face and you have it read 63.1, you don't need to be a lawyer to read the text. I'm happy to put it up on the screen. It's very clearly when it creates an atmosphere of discomfort in the neighborhood, you as police officers can enforce the law to stop that assembly. When you cover your face in the pursuit of hiding your identity during an infraction of the criminal code, you can stop that person. When you put a sign over an overpass and you light a flare obstructing things, you could stop that person. So the question is, why aren't people stopping those people? Why do I have to write a letter for two concerned citizens who would like to go about their daily business, and all these people on this call who have come out to say that they're scared? Why should we be scared? Why can't the police simply enforce the law? There is a political will. I understand that's not consistent with the police will, but do not hide behind free speech and free terrorism and free hate. There's nothing protected in our law by that. We need to feel comfortable that the laws apply equally to us as they do to everybody else. And this is not consistent with what this community, and might I say all Montrealers, are now seeing coming out of the current situation. There's been over 35 interventions of these people on the island of Montreal since October 8th, 2023. How come? Why have they not stopped people from blocking streets, blocking metros, blocking businesses, blocking cars, blocking bridges? Why aren't you arresting people? You don't have the resources? The amalgamation of
No,
municipalities said, why, Mrs. Plant, why don't you call the SQ and ask them to help out? Why haven't anybody on this call seen any interventions from the police? And I don't want to take up too much time. And I truly am very thankful every day that I know that there's somebody like yourself that cares. But look what you're seeing. Why is this not under control? Period.
listen, Mr. Neil, I think, like I say, the 63 and the 65.1, I gotta talk to my lawyers more than anything else, just to make sure, because I know the tools that I have, and I'm using them on the field during the demonstration or during different event. And we are doing some arrestation when it comes to arrestation. So when you're mentioning that why is nothing being done, I don't know what to say, because we have been doing a lot. We have been doing a
I'm not
lot.
saying you're not, nobody here is saying you're not.
Sorry, Neil, I'm going to have to interrupt as Mr. Dagher has a hard stop at 5:45. And I just wanted to ask two final questions. Number one, if there's one piece of security advice that you can tell our synagogue, what would it be? And number two, if there's a way that we could thank local precincts, what would be the best way that we could say thank you? Because we have tried to give food, but we were told that they're not really allowed to accept food or things like that. You know, Jews and food go hand in
yeah,
hand. So
I'm gonna start by the second one. Actually, they refuse the food, but you know what they say? They mentioned to the Jewish community, they mentioned, no, thank you, but we are honored to serve you. I was so happy. I was so happy that they mentioned that. I was very proud of my guys. For this first one, for the synagogue, you know what? Sometimes it's basic security. Lighting around the synagogue, cameras, and the Jewish community, what's great about the Jewish community is because you guys have the holidays, and you have a lot of holidays, and every Friday from Shabbat, you walk. You have no idea how secure is the walk. because the suspect was looking at is more the easy target. And it's not the easy target when people walk around every weekend. So something basic, and when you see something very different or the behavior very different, please acknowledge and as soon as possible, let us know about it. Let us know about it, because there's no small bad behaviors that, no, you know what, I'm not going to call for this. No, you call for this. We just trained our police officer in the police counter. In every police station, we have a police officer at the counter. At the beginning, they didn't understand what was hate crime and hate incidents. And we trained them. And if this training is not enough, and let's say one of my police officers tells you, no, we don't take this is not serious. We have the group called Mish. Adam, I'm gonna send you, Adam, the name of Mish, M-I-C-H. These are my police officers specialized in those kind of events. They would take the police report right away.
Great, thank you.
They will listen to you guys. They will take the report right away.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it straight from the chief of police. Everyone should walk to Shul on Shabbat. Join me in a walk.
Yes, please.
You are all invited to walk to Shul this Shabbat Shira. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Dagher, for your time and for all that you do. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I want to give also everyone a chance to get to afternoon services, which start at synagogue in 12 minutes. I will see you there, and have a wonderful evening to all. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
much.
everybody.
Thank you very
Good
much.
evening. Thank you.
Thank
Didn't answer the
you.
questions. You didn't answer the questions. Awful. The problem is Valerie Plante, his boss. At the end of the day, it ain't happening. He didn't answer one question that Neil asked. The police are not enforcing the law. His boss is Valerie Plante. His boss is Valerie Plante. And at the end of the day, I hope she is going to get sued. And I hope the city of Montreal gets sued. Because if this was about Black Lives Matter or Pride, there would be issues being handled, but not this. This is awful.
Well, Ron, you make a very good point. The thing is that, the precedent was set with the pots and pans summer, right? When they all started gathering all the time and not everybody was being arrested, and very little came out of it. And that goes back, how many years ago is that already?
At least
6,
10.
7 years ago. Is it that long ago already? Wow.
Yeah.
So think about it. That's when the precedent was set here. And, Plante, as a politician, as Ron, you have enough experience with this, is that they have to ride the fence, and they can't show favoritism towards our community ahead of the Arab community or the Palestinian community.
Paul,
and,
this is
and I know how that sounds and how we all feel. I know it.
If I may, it's not
Yes,
even a
please.
question of that. Something happened in the States recently where there were pro-Palestinian protesters blocking a bridge.
Mhm.
And some Jewish people went around the area to circle them, just a few, to try to circle them, to try to stop them from blocking more areas. It is the Jewish people that were asked by the police to leave.
Mhm.
When they said to the police, why aren't you stopping the pro-Palestinians instead? Their reply was, how would we arrest 3,000 people? So I think
they're
at this
not wrong.
point, I think at this point, it's more of a numbers game. They don't have the task force right now to be able to enforce this, unfortunately. And I'm just signaling what the issue is. I don't have the answer, unfortunately, but I think that is more the issue. They can't get into a game where they would try to arrest some people and have this whole big situation on their hands that they could no longer control.
It's money. And he mentioned it, right? 27 to 28% understaffed and overtime. He's already spent $3 million. And if you're getting out an entire SWAT force, that's going to cost you $500,000 in overtime for one march. And that's why. So yeah, when they blocked the Champlain Bridge and when they were on overpasses. That's why they do very little. They try and ask them nicely, but you can imagine a lot of times police play this game with people and protesters that is very delicate, because they can't push them away or start arresting them all, because it will actually incite violence. And the numbers are that the police are outnumbered. What are they then going to do? Start shooting? Great. What's that going to do? It's going to make it even worse. I mean, and I don't know who mentioned Black Lives Matter, but think to St. Louis or was it Ferguson, Missouri? It's exactly that. And then there are protests everywhere, and it gets out of hand. So it's a tightrope to walk, and I wouldn't want to be A, the politician, or B, the police chief to have to deal with those kinds of things. Not that I'm, saying that they're doing a great job. I don't think they are, but they've got to come up with something else. That's just my opinion.
Well, I just would like to leave everyone with the knowledge that the synagogue is secure. Our doors are locked. We have cameras. We're, of course, always looking to upgrade and to enhance. But I hope everyone feels safe and secure coming to synagogue.
Adam, thank you. And I just want to mention, I am the co-chair of the security committee. And so if anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to email me at paul.grafe@gmail.com, where, believe me, we've been working very diligently on increasing our security, and we've already taken some measures. Thanks, everyone.
And I want to tell Ronnie Robbins, great to see you, and you should come by once in a while.
I'm too busy trying to protect
Okay, good.
the community. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How Valerie Plante, and I hope that Neil's successful in moving this along. It's as long as there's no arrests for the Molotov cocktails, the shootings, the demonstrations are going to continue on. And you know what? Bring back the JDL. That will change. That will change everything. And Adam, it's great to see you too. And I hear that your family is now up to what, 17 kids?
Well, four. Thank God, four healthy and safe.
Attaboy.
Okay, everyone, have a wonderful evening. Thanks for coming.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.